given what we've been discussing lately about CEOs of gaming companies, they could do with taking their page out of Gabe's book. This guy runs Steam and Valve, and he plays games. They need to do the same. Play your games, enjoy them. Hell, you don't even have to play your game. Go play other games. Just play a game, goddammit.
Welcome back to the 106th episode of PandTha Talks.
And the numbers keep climbing. Hello.
The language barrier still is there.
I'm autistic. That's my excuse, all right?
But you don't have a diagnosis.
I also have like the best way I can word it is I have an uncommon stutter. Like I don't
Same.
typically stutter, but like sometimes my brain will fart, and I cannot get words out. And I keep at the same time I keep trying to get the words out, and it just leads to just a pile of mess.
And then when we're both talking, it just creates tangents.
Yeah. How many's that already? 17?
I mean, I'm sure you've realised over the 106 episodes we've recorded, for some reason, while I'm talking, it can be the most common word in the world. The first letter will trip me up 4 times, and then I'll suddenly say it fine. Makes no sense.
You also... What I absolutely love is you just completely replace words.
Yes, I just read them and then misread over it. It's so annoying.
It's so good though because it's completely unpredictable as well. So I'll be reading it as you're saying it because that's like the best way for me to understand what you're saying. And a whole different word will just be said. There'll not be a stutter. There'll not be like an attempt and then saying it. It'll just be a completely different word. I'm just sat there like, wait, where what are we reading?
Yeah, just me jumping to new things. Don't worry about it too much. So
anyway, Roy, what's lined up for today?
This week's actually quite an interesting week. We have a fair amount of things. We got some bits about the day before again. Can't believe we're still talking about this going into the 3rd month.
Yeah, if you're watching the video version, you can see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, Ubisoft news as well to do with Assassin's Creed and possibly starting to talk with Tencent. A lot of news about Valve regarding how much money they've brought in this year, how good of a year it's been, and then some news about Valve and Xbox. I'm not going to expand on that. You will see when we get to it. We have discussed it before, but the rumours are climbing again.
You know I really hate you sometimes.
I know. It's great.
How are you just gonna cliffhanger me like that, bro? That's fucked up.
I do. Also, to discuss with Xbox, the copilot AI system seems to be getting put through for gaming, which reminds me of like a system I really want to build. I've basically been talking about this. You know, do you remember Clippy, the paperclip?
Oh my god! How long? I can't give you let's see how long that guy came out.
You remember the memes about it, though, when he just pops up and it's like, I see you're trying to take over the world. Do you want some help with that? Things like
96.
Yeah. Well, I've got a temptation to make an AI that basically will just pop up Clippy at random points on your desktop. So, for example, if someone's randomly watching inappropriate adult content, it'll say, I see you're trying to do this. Do you want some help with that? I just think it would be hilarious. It would be like one full meme creation, but I think it would be absolutely hilarious.
That would be brilliant.
And then the last thing is about Roblox. Surprisingly, the Roblox CEO...
I hear a lot about Roblox.
In recent years, it's definitely climbed above and beyond.
It's more just people always making games in Roblox, like games are being released. So, for example,
do you remember old school bloody Roblox when it was literally just all blocks and you jumped over things and that was about it, or lived in a city?
Yeah, that pretty much sums Roblox up.
Yeah, that was once upon a time what it was. Do you remember that VR game I showed you a couple of years, like last year?
Which one?
The one that was inside Roblox, built inside Roblox, looks extremely realistic.
Yes. Yeah,
it's basically become a game engine at this point. But this
pretty much, yeah, it's kind of strange.
Yeah, but this one's about the Roblox CEO telling parents, don't let your kids be on Roblox. And then proceeding to compare himself to Walt Disney and declaring the future of the platform.
Oh, if he's going to try and be like Walt Disney, then this is going to go down a very dark road.
It is indeed. Really fun, though. So, let's start out as we mean to go on. First thing first, the day before, Studio reportedly sues Russian website for calling infamous disaster game a scam.
I mean, it wasn't far off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as this says, well, it certainly wasn't Game of the Year 2023. Oh, I still remember this.
That's a pretty good character to have. You can't get headshot.
I mean, yeah, really good luck fucking headshotting that guy. First reported by 80 Level, the day before Studio Fantastic has reportedly sued Russian news site Yakutia.info, which is based in Fantastic founder's home region of Yakutia in Siberia. The suit claimed Yakutia.info's damaged Fantastic's reputation by referring to the company's behaviour surrounding the day before as a scam. No, they've nailed it perfectly.
Can we get a dictionary line of what reputation means? Because, yeah, I don't think they have a reputation.
Yeah, that is actually very fair. I mean, you know what? Well, let's do this right. Right, there you are. Right, we're going to search up Fantastic. You should still be on Twitter. There you are.
Oh, there's that awful background again.
Yeah, they're well known for this, aren't they? So when was the last time they posted? November 24? Yeah, November 24. Okay.
Oof.
So, no one cares about your company. Thank you for following us. Congrats, you made a filing cabinet and a desk. Must be some crazy work. Good luck. Me and my buddy were huge fans of your product game before, even though it was far from perfect. I mean, it literally states parody account.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Here's a little behind-the-scenes peek of the place right now. Anyone taking bets on how fast they all abandoned this game the day before launch? These guys are still up after the scams. Right, so what reputation are you apparently losing?
There isn't a reputation.
No.
I almost want to feel bad, and part of me does feel bad for the way they're being treated, but it's not like it's without reason.
Well,
Not that makes it okay still, but what they made was absolutely garbage.
That's the problem. It was abandoned the day this post was made. The 26th, actually. 4 days before this was made. Like, that's even worse, in my opinion. How have you successfully managed to completely abandon a project? Because it's been, what, 5 months now since then?
Yeah.
Roughly 5 months? And we're still waiting. That's insane. I'm keeping this up just because I've got a bad feeling we're going to have to return to that. The news comes from Yakutia Info itself, which says the suit pivots on one story that referred to Fantastic's activity as a scam, as well as another story that paraphrased YouTube influencers who accused the day before of having copied or borrowed mechanics from other games. As a note, I accessed Yakutia Info's story via Google's automated translation. Understandable, it's in Russian, unless you want to get a translator.
Yeah. A comment was made on that Twitter post how it was an asset flip. We talked about how it was basically an asset flip, and before this game was made, we had previously covered asset flips and how they are basically just scams and completely unreasonable.
Yeah, I think that was actually, perfectly timed thinking about it. I was, teaching you about asset flips 2 weeks before, then this happened. And it was, the perfection of understanding what an asset flip is. It was fantastic. And that really helped in the interview with Old Glory Studios, because we got to discussing that sort of stuff. It was really interesting. Yakutia Info characterizes the word scam. Oh, fantastic, we're getting a definition. As relatively new in the Russian language.
Oh.
Okay. And argues it did not intend to accuse Fantastic of fraud. Yakutia Info amended both its stories after the fact, changing scam to embarrassment, and directly quoting the influence instead of paraphrasing them. Right.
Basically, what's happened is language barrier. Scam must mean something else, as in fraud. They're taking it 100% seriously. Whereas, if we looked at an asset game and called it a scam, we would be like, it's bullshit. There's been no effort put in, and they're just using assets to make a quick buck.
The thing is, from what I recall, Fantastic shut down immediately. after they failed financially due to lack of funds. They
It was
weren't
Steam
even the
that
ones.
refunded it, wasn't it? Steam and Valve.
It wasn't even Valve because they didn't have the
No?
money to take from Fantastic. They tried, and Steam did definitely do that. But from what I recall, it was not Fantastic, but it was the people that backed them. So they lost even more money from it. So Fantastic wasn't anything to do with it, realistically, which is even more concerning.
Yeah, and if you want, and I think them changing it from scam to embarrassment is perfect. Then in that sense, like it was so
Oh,
bad
yeah.
and so pathetic that they couldn't even refund people themselves. Someone else had to do it for them.
Yeah, exactly. Yakuta.info also draws attention to the way it was singled out among legions of press, influencers, and regular gamers for its criticism of Fantastic and the day before, insinuating that the site was singled out for its small size and potential difficulty defending itself legally. At the same time, the word scam carries an implication of knowing malice, and while Fantastic is now infamous for releasing and unreleasing an utter flop of a game after an overheated hype cycle, Yakutia.info may find itself saddled with the burden of proof for showing that Fantastic's actions were criminal and not just incompetent. The thing is, this is weaponized incompetence. That's all this is. Because
If you're the way they made the game and how it was just an asset flip, essentially, they've got to know that that's what they're doing. They're using things that are pretty much free to new devs, trying to make like just a wee game and charging money for it.
the thing is, a lot of them will like buy assets and stuff, which is fine to an extent. But
Yeah, if you
do
buy
need to
them
sort
and then sell them for actual money, sure. But like, how many like indie devs are out there where they get free assets and make a game out of them and release it for free?
Oh yeah, it happens all the time.
And then once they've had that experience, then they buy assets with having more confidence because they got positive feedback from using the free assets and buy assets, make a game with pay for assets, and then charge money for it because that's reasonable.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit crazy, to be honest with you. It doesn't
It's
really add up.
unfair. It's
But
unfair and disrespectful to the smaller devs that try to make games as like a first game that they're making for some experience and then try to charge money for it.
while I agree, there is another part to this that I also do need to mention. They're trying to claim, and they are right, it will basically sadly fall on Yakuta.info to prove that Fantastic's actions were criminal. The problem with that is, you're going to have to convince someone who typically and most likely does not play video games, a judge. It's highly unlikely they're going to be sat playing video games. It's highly unlikely they're going to understand the gaming space. Trying to prove that from the get-go is already saddled against you. The other part to it, how can you say that knowingly deceiving your customers before purchase is not a scam? You are putting out trailers showing gameplay and footage which looks nothing like what you have released.
That is a conversation for us to have another day. And I think I've mentioned it before, especially when we talked about mobile games and how they're just microtransaction hell.
Yeah.
There is more effort put into the completely fake trailers, which in fairness nowadays is probably just AI, than there is put into the actual game. The actual game is just click on this, click on that, now go to our shop and buy stuff. Whereas the gameplay looks like it could almost be a PC game. And
Yeah.
that infuriates me.
I'm completely with you. So, seeing as we'll have that topic, we'll discuss that topic another day. Let's move on to this.
We've already had so many tangents, so,
Yeah,
go try and lighten the load.
Yeah, let's do that. But it's hard to seriously advocate for Fantastic in any case. Any damage to the company's reputation by Yakutia.info is surely a drop in the bucket compared to the truly international, boundary-defying scorn earned by the day before. Proven by what we saw on Twitter a few minutes ago. Long Steam's most wishlisted game, the DayZ-alike survival game, was a buggy, empty mess that was shortly taken offline. I may hesitate to use the S word to describe the day before, but plenty of influencers, YouTubers, and commenters have shown no such compunction, making this. Sorry, 1 second. Awful timing.
It happens.
Shown no such compunction in making the slinging out of Yakutia.info a curious development. Fair enough. Fantastic's poor communication with players, grand promises. Oh, really unlucky today. Oh dear. With players, grand promises about the game, use of volunteer labour.
That just sounds like slavery with extra steps.
Awful way to describe it. And the level of attention it garnered certainly don't help its case. And I'm curious to see what might come out of this lawsuit's discovery period. Fantastic, God bless it, is still trying to make games. Last September, Fantastic failed to fund a new game on Kickstarter, with its physics-based multiplayer proposal raking in just $2,351 of a nearly $15,000 goal. It subsequently Subsequently, there we go, we got there, announced a new project and has gone back to the volunteer labour idea that previously drew so much criticism, putting out a call for designers to compete to their map, for their map to be included in the game. May I also just add here, this is the last thing I'm going to say about Fantastic before we move on, because we've been on this for way too long. Fantastic still trying to make games and failing their Kickstarter. There's another part I need to mention, which was, do you remember how it says that Yakutia.info, which is based in Fantastic's founder's home region of Siberia? From what I recall regarding Fantastic, weren't they trying to raise money in the Singaporean dollar, claiming that they are now based in Singapore? So I feel that some funny business is going on there. But anyways, we shall move on very quickly because I don't want to talk any more about that. It's interesting, and I think it's definitely something we're going to have to keep up watching, and we did say we would be watching them moving forwards. But I think
there's not much to watch, to be honest. The fact that their Kickstarter failed, at that point, I think it's time to close shop and sort of rethink your career.
Oh yeah, for them, definitely. But we get to watch the slow burning crumble. Ubisoft is reportedly talking to Tencent about creating a new business entity to manage Assassin's Creed and other big games. Do you remember how we were discussing this a couple weeks ago?
I do, yes, and I do remember the whole Tencent talk.
Yeah.
And I think you somewhat agree with me that it's sort of dependent on what happens with Assassin's Creed, whether or not they continue talking further with Tencent.
To an extent, yes, but also on the other side of it, Tencent just seem to want to gobble up as much of the gaming industry and don't care how much or...
Yes, that is
whether
your
it's right or
big
wrong.
dislike about them.
Yeah, they just buy everything. They're a bit like Epic in that regard, but Epic is like that because they're owned by Tencent. So, no surprise, really. It's like saying that a son's like its dad. Of course it's going to be. Nothing is finalised yet, but it sounds like Ubisoft is moving towards some kind of new deal that could involve Tencent. What a shock.
I personally do feel like they're buying time until they see what happens with Assassin's Creed.
Well, this is a discussion that, in my opinion, will go for the future, not really for the current about what's going on with Assassin's Creed.
Not even just Assassin's Creed. Like we all know Ubisoft is currently like really down bad.
Yeah.
Like, their stocks alone are fucking abysmal.
Actually, how are they doing? We've not checked in a little bit.
But like, if Assassin's Creed like blows people away,
Look at that.
then if Assassin's Creed does like extremely well, it could completely turn things around and give them like a chance to go back to normal. But if it flops, like that's their whole budget spent on nothing throughout the last few years.
So I've not chosen any of these, mainly because I didn't see this one before. But Ubisoft reportedly considering fresh business. We know about this from this one. Ubisoft shareholders starting protest over company failing to disclose possible game sales to Microsoft and EA. That sounds as though they're pretty much like trying to lie to get Microsoft and EA to assist, which is bad.
Yeah.
This is getting bad.
It was
Why
already
the-
bad. Now it's just getting worse.
Why the fuck is Bloodborne there? The only reason that
Who
game
knows?
should ever pop back up is if a PC release is there. A Bloomberg report says struggling publisher Ubisoft is looking for investors for a new business venture. That might be what they've been fibbing to EA and Microsoft about. To take control of some of its most valuable gaming properties, including Assassin's Creed. The report says Ubisoft has contacted professional investors, including Tencent, about acquiring a minority share in the new venture. Nothing is finalised at this point, according to the report, but sources told the site Ubisoft has asked interested investors to make preliminary bids by the end of the month. Ubisoft may seek a higher valuation for the new entity than that of Ubisoft itself. So basically, it sounds like they're going to put, just putting this together in my head a bit here, it sounds like they're going to put the majority of their major games to another company that's going to have side investment from different people, which is interesting. I'm not really sure how
until they put this bid up, and everyone is too scared to invest in them because of how their performance is currently doing, and Tencent get their toe dipped in the pie for next to nothing.
Well, that's the thing with Tencent. I mean, like, they wanted something to rival Steam, so they invested in Epic. And then Epic proceeded to basically just be, effectively as of the moment, they're a money pit. All Steam has to do is outlast Epic, which is not
Steam
challenging.
is gonna outlast everything, but I don't think there is any beating Steam. There's not even being equivalent to Steam.
Not as a
in my
PC
opinion.
storefront.
It's just everything about it is just good and nice.
Yeah, I mean, they do really well. Don't get me wrong, they have their problems. We're all in admission of that.
Everything does.
Yeah.
Nothing's perfect, but Steam is close to it.
Yeah, it's much better than all competitors out there. GOG, though, I think is a fantastic example of how to compete successfully with Steam. The only thing that GOG need to do better is get more games on their platform. But, I mean, they even link to other platforms, which I think is amazing. Being able to launch all games from a single platform. Who wouldn't rave about that? Because the biggest annoyance about PC gaming sometimes is you're forced to use external platforms because companies like Ubisoft and EA get a bit bitchy because their platforms
Yeah.
being useless.
When I have to launch Ubisoft to play a Ubisoft game, it just angers me.
No, exactly. This is presumably the next step in the strategy that was first reported in January. We did discuss this in pretty good detail in the past, so moving on. Trouble for them is Ubisoft is not doing well. The company's struggles are well publicised, its share price is a fraction of what it was just 5 years ago, and its recent high-profile games, most notably Star Wars Outlaws and X-Defiant, have not lived up to their expectations. X-Defiant being pretty much a prime example of that because it was closed down, which is shocking to see. Ubisoft hasn't done itself any favours on the PR front either. The delisting of The Crew 2024 was a major self-inflicted wound. The Assassin's Creed Shadows pre-release period has been marked by stumbles, and no, we still don't know where The Sands of Time is. Anyone that doesn't know what The Sands of Time is, it was a Prince of Persia game from what I do recall. Reports of possible buyouts of Ubisoft first surfaced in October 2024, and when Assassin's Creed Shadows was delayed for the second time in January 25. The company said it was taking decisive steps to reshape, but its business and had appointed leading advisors to review and pursue various transformational, strategic, and capitalistic options to extract the best value for shareholders. Once again,
Which is, yeah.
it's shareholders. Once again, like, I'm just going to say this straight up. If you make good games, the games will sell well. If they sell well, they will make money. If they make money, the shareholders are happy.
Yeah.
How
And that's been their issue. No one wants to back them up anymore because the last couple of years, the quality of games they've been releasing are terrible, and they're bringing in little to no money, and then their massive title, Assassin's Creed, has now been delayed twice.
Exactly.
So that's not giving them any confidence, even in the game that theoretically, on paper, should do really well.
Exactly that. How that might take shape is anyone's guess, but it seems clear that the big moves are required. Just weeks after the announcement, Ubisoft closed its Leamington studio and made layoffs at the Dusseldorf, Stockholm, and Ubisoft Reflections Studios. All of that happened little more than a month after the shutdown of Ubisoft's San Francisco and Osaka studios. Ubisoft said in its third quarter financial report in February that the review of its strategic and capitalistic options was ongoing, and referred back to the report in a statement provided to PC Gamer. As we mentioned during our quarter three sales, the review of various transformational, strategic, and capital raising options is ongoing. A representative said, the board has established an ad hoc independent committee to oversee this formal and competitive process so as to extract the best value from Ubisoft's assets and franchises for all stakeholders. Ubisoft will inform the market in accordance with applicable regulations if and once a transaction materializes. Fuck you. Anyways, moving on to Ubisoft. Assassin's Creed Shadows has good news for Steam users. This is very good news. Players won't need to link their Ubisoft Connect launcher for Assassin's Creed Shadows. They just won't. They just need to link the account. So you don't need to launch it. You just need the account linked.
Do you think they sort of took a note out of Sony's experience with doing that?
I don't
and
think
saw how much that ruined Helldivers 2.
I don't think Sony have 100% learned yet. We're still waiting for.
Still?
Well, they're better than they were. They've definitely improved, but
it's not hard to do, man, when the bar's that low.
Exactly. You know, I've heard recently, apparently, The Last of Us 3 has been cancelled, which I'm sort of like, what? So Sony clearly aren't holding on very well.
Yeah, that is rough.
But yeah, I mean, if that's good news, I'm pretty happy with that. While not a complete disconnect, it's still good for fans that want all the games in one place. Yeah, I'm fine with that. As long as I don't need to launch the bloody thing every time I go to play a game, I'm pretty happy. Just let me launch it through Steam. It's not like you can't connect the bloody servers.
Yeah, your account is still linked. They're still getting the sale. What's the big issue here?
It's because they need to prove that basically they're getting some sort of purpose out of having their own system. And at which point I do always have the same question of, so what's the point in you wasting money and server space in hosting your own service?
Yeah.
Just do it through Steam.
Like, majority of pretty much anyone who has a PC will have Steam. And we love convenience, and that's the best part about Steam, is it's convenient.
Yeah.
So why make it awkward? Keep it convenient and people will happily use it.
The other problem I have, and this is genuinely the reason I don't see this as an argument against competition, because that's what a lot of people like to argue whenever I've said shit like this in the past. They go, well, you're arguing against competition, and Steam needs competition. No, I'm not arguing against competition. I'm arguing about this because EA, Ubisoft, I'm sure there's another, Blizzard, those three are my prime examples of this. They are big companies that basically have specific games on their platforms. These specific games that they have on their platforms, their own fucking games. That's all they have.
Yeah.
It's the entirety of what they shove out there. So that is not competitive against Steam. That's just blocking the market. You want to see something that's competitive against Steam? As much as I hate to say it, Epic is a good example of that because it has a wide variety of games. GOG, an amazing example of it because it has an extremely wide variety as well as their own games. Why is this not
just
doable?
saying now, mentioning Blizzard, you launch Blizzard, there's what, like 6 games on it?
Yeah, there really isn't much. Ubisoft has all its Ubisoft games. I can't even think now what EA has. Just any EA game over the last however long.
To be honest, though, when it comes to Ubisoft's one, I wouldn't actually mind if it had to be launched so you could play their game. It's the fact that when you're forced to launch it, it's so laggy, it's so slow, and trying to do anything on it is just near impossible. Like when I'm in a game playing through Steam, I can open Steam Overlay with one button and it's pretty much instant, and you have access to everything really easily. Whereas
Yeah.
Ubisoft, like you have to wait 10 minutes for the overlay to open once hitting the keybinds. And then you have to go through this to get to that, to then get to this to accept your game invite.
Oh, don't even get me
It's like
started.
where is the button? If I'm playing a game that requires like a peer-to-peer connection, because there might be something wrong, or it just doesn't work properly, or it doesn't exist, and they're not showing up in like a search menu or in your friends list, and they send you an invite. One button, Steam Room is open because they've sent you an invite. Their chat for sending the invite is on the top of everything. You click one more button, aka the accept button, and that's it. You're good to go.
Did you rebind your Steam overlay?
Have I?
Yeah.
Yes, Shift Tab is impossible to use, especially for us, because Shift is sprinting and Tab is inventory, which is the case for a lot of games.
That's a fair
And when you're
point,
trying to
yeah.
sprint and open your inventory, it's like trying to Alt Tab in Rust, with Alt being the default free keybind, and then you try to go in your inventory at the same time, you end up fucking tabbing out.
Look, most fucking inventories in games that I've played over the years were mostly other keys on the keyboard. Tab,
Usually
once upon
which
a
I
time,
fucking despise.
still, once upon a time, Tab, its entire purpose, leaderboard.
Yeah,
That was its
but I don't care about the
entire
leaderboard.
purpose. No, exactly.
Yeah.
But that was its entire purpose. Nowadays, Tab's used for anything other than the leaderboard. You want the
Yeah.
leaderboard, right? Enjoy pressing Alt 7 and 2 all at once because fuck you, we don't care.
No,
The
I
anger have by
like
that.
Tab as my inventory.
No, I get that then. For you, that makes sense.
Steam overlay key is end, I believe, or maybe dash on numpad. It might be both, to be honest.
I get that.
I think I had it as end,
Oh.
then rebounded to the dash on numpad, and it for some reason never unbound on end. So I think both work.
So there's something I need to actually quickly address. It was a post I put up. I think it was like last week, the week before. Here it is. Ubisoft went down. It's just to do with this topic, surprisingly. Ubisoft went down for for like about a day, I think, and it really annoyed me because I didn't realise. And I took this photo of me attempting to play, I think it was Breakpoint I was trying to play, Ghost Recon Breakpoint. And Ubisoft's entire thing was, we're aware of multiple of issues affecting connectivity in multiple games and are working towards resolving it ASAP. And this, everyone, is the problem with a complete reliance on digital games. Dang thing, I can't even play my hacking game. I was fuming. All I wanted to do was launch a game I'd paid for through Steam, which is where I launched it, and it dragged it to the Ubisoft Connect launcher, and because the Ubisoft Connect launcher was offline, couldn't play my game.
And that's the issue with forcing you to launch their service.
Exactly. So, let's move on to something a bit more happier. 2024 was Steam's best year ever of users buying newly released games. But I wouldn't celebrate the end of the forever game era just yet. Yeah, we know. Yesterday, Valve published its yearly Steam Year in Review blog post, a retrospective highlighting Steam feature additions and customers' data trends from 2024, calling 2024 a year of growth. Valve said Steam's number of peak concurrent users is nearly twice what it was in March 2020. And last year, all those users were playing more new games than ever. 2024 was the Steam platform's best year ever in terms of customers buying newly released games. In 2024, new release revenue on Steam, which Valve defines as sales revenue from the first 30 days after a product's release and any pre-purchases, was 10 times higher than it was in 2014. More than 500 games earned more than $250K in new release sales, with more than 200 of those earning more than $1 million, an increase of 27% and 15% from 2023's numbers, respectively. That is insane, I've got to say.
Isn't this as well with like their new like system in place with like how they charge publishers and all that?
depending
I
on
do believe
their
so, yeah.
sales. So that to see that increase still with those policies, which are like very fair to creators, is really good, like insanely good.
I mean, I don't like the fact that it's compared to 2014. The reason I say that, simply put, is because game prices are so much higher now compared to 2014. And going
Yeah,
off the
it's
income only, it's very difficult to see the actual correlation.
yeah, the inflation has been insane. They did compare some of it to 2020 though,
Yeah, that's
which
what
is
I
a
liked.
little more accurate.
2020 and 2023, those were the
Yeah,
better numbers
2023
to
is a
compare.
good one, but like even 2020, there's still been quite a bit of inflation,
Yeah,
but a hell of a lot more if you're comparing it to 2014.
100%. Valve also provided a chart, see above, showing the steady increases in yearly new release revenues since 2017. Which, gotta say, fair play. Don't know what the money
Yeah.
value is, but still, pretty fair.
An
I hate it
insane
when they
number,
do that.
Warren. An
Yeah.
insane number. I mean,
What the
how many games do we see being released at $70 and $80 price tags this year?
Yeah,
A
exactly.
lot. Too many.
Oh, this pulled up actually my argument as well. What the chart doesn't include, however, is any labeling to indicate what those revenue figures actually were. And without any figures of bars indicating sales revenue from games outside of their new release window, it's an incomplete picture. If live service game revenues increase by even larger percentages, for example, those greater new release sales would have actually accounted for a decreasing portion of Steam's revenue. Valve does publish a yearly list of Steam's biggest earners in 2024. The highest tier contains a number of new games that we know were hits. Palworld, Helldivers 2, Space Marine 2, Black Myth Wukong. But the usual suspects are there too. Dota 2, Counter-Strike 2, Apex Legends, PUBG, and although it is technically a new release, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 hardly feels like one given. We've gotten a new COD every year for the last 20 years, and they're now all bundled into one Call of Duty launcher.
Making it
can't
even
argue
easier
that.
for people to cheat.
I know, right? It's great.
Good idea, guys.
Still, the trend of increasing new release revenue provides some additional context. For the chilling reveal last year's Steam replay, that only 15% of user playtime was spent in games released in 2024. As dire as that number might seem, it's actually up from 2023, where only 9% of playtime was spent in games released that year. It's down from 17% in 2022, though. You gotta think.
I mean, with the releases that we've had over those last 2 years, are you surprised that the number is that low for new releases?
The thing is, they've got to think about people like yourself, who is still sat playing a game that released in
2012, 2013. It's argued when it actually is released from because of like the legacy days.
2018 there, but you got to consider that's when it came to
2013
Steam.
at latest. Yeah, it's 2013 at latest is when it released.
You know, I
But I
originally
think there's
bought
some
Rust.
people that argue like 2012 or something.
Yeah, I originally bought Rust on the website, so it didn't have a Steam key.
Yeah, that's the issue though with quite a few of the games being released as well, is they have very little replayability.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing we're lacking in games these days.
Oh,
Like, it's great to get a game where it's a really awesome playthrough, but a lot of them have been like 10 hours, and playing them again is not an option. And it's a bit shit.
No, exactly that. It's tempting to read the trend as proof of the games industry's vibe shift. We prophesized at the end of last year, where the continuing string of live service closures, like the recently announced Spectre Divide shuttering, brings an end to the doomed pursuit of next forever game. Sorry about that. But many of the new games in the 2024 Steam bestsellers list, like Throne and Liberty, The First Descendant, and Once Human, are still chasing that same goal. By Valve's definition, their first 30 days of microtransaction sales would count as new release revenue. Without a more holistic data set, we can't say whether rising new release revenue indicates a coming sea change or if the water's moving in the same tides.
I mean, when we were looking at the stats when they were released for like revenues from different platforms and all that,
Yeah,
mobile was included in those, and they are pretty much the same thing as microtransactions in a sense.
yeah.
And then the number was completely disgusting. So if that was added into those sales that were mentioned in that article, those numbers would look tiny compared to the microtransaction sales.
No, exactly. I'm deciding for this next one. I've got rid of 2 articles because they pretty much covered the same thing, but one of them links to the actual review. I think this is better to cover. We're not going to cover the entire thing because, let's be honest, that would go on for way too long. But what I want to look at, if we can, there should be... Obviously, there's some bits about, like, you can see they've started to alert things like advanced access, content for game. They've neatened things up quite a bit. That's something that they've definitely done for customers. Playing and sharing. You can also see now that they've been doing this as well. I don't know if you've pre-ordered anything recently, Will, but this is now how that pre-order works.
I don't really pre-order games.
I know you don't. Don't
It's
worry.
it's such a risk, especially with recent times. It's like you're spending this money and you're getting handed a steaming pile of crap.
Game update exceptions. So you can actually set up what games you don't want to update. If there's one that you don't plan to ever play, but it's just sat there installed. Game recording system, we did discuss this earlier last year. Tools for game developers. Apparently, they've actually implemented a fair bit there as well, which is pretty interesting. It's stuff that I'd love to cover, but let's be honest, we do not have the time for. So I am having to move on. Right, platform growth and data. This is kind of what I'm interested in. We saw this, but we've got some figures here. So new release revenue per year has increased almost 10 times since 2014.
We covered this as well.
Yeah, but this bit's the bit that's new. In 2024...
No, you covered that as well.
Oh yeah, crap, I did.
Yeah,
you are correct.
They don't want to tell us how much they made, man.
At times, man.
Sorry.
You know what? There's a really easy way to find any amount of money. There we go. The 1.7 million customers who originated from a top 2023 release went on to enjoy more than 141 million hours of playtime in additional games on top of any playtime from the game that brought them on board. And they weren't just playing games, they were buying new ones too. That cohort of players has gone on to spend $20 million on in-game transactions across hundreds of games, plus another $73 million premium games and DLC across thousands of products. Bit concerning to me, but hey ho, that's what that is.
Is it bad that number is smaller than what I was expecting here?
To be fair, yeah. The thing is, this is going to be quite interesting, but if you want to check it out, it's going to be in our Discord research tab, so feel free to jump in, have a look over that. It's definitely interesting to take a look for yourself and just see what Steam's actually doing, and to see that they're not just fucking about. Sorry, I was just handed a lot of chocolate. But I thought we'd hear from the man, the myth, the legend today. Just a little bit.
It does exist.
He does. He will always exist. Valve's Gabe Newell, CEO of Steam... And Valve, reveals what game he's been playing recently. Now, I just read it, but I'm not going to go through that yet. Actually, it's all there. Valve's president and co-founder, Gabe Newell, revealed that he's been playing a lot of Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl as of late. His shout-out to this game further underscores Stalker 2's global success. I mean, we both fell in love with it.
I cannot play. What? Heh? English.
The English language has failed this time.
I cannot wait to play Stalker again when I get my build set up and just fucking crank it up.
Oh man, the game looks stunning as well, and with all the new patches that they've done.
Yep, I have pretty much not touched it since we both played it mainly.
Same.
I played it a little bit, but not a whole lot when I was modding it, because just mainly loading issues that the game would crash every other time with some mods.
Yeah.
Because it was still early in development.
No,
but as you said yourself, there's been
in a sense, thousands of patches.
Yeah, it really has
So
been.
it's going to feel like a different game, and the fact that I'll be able to run it really well, I'm so looking forward to it.
Yeah. When he's not gaming or running Valve, Gabe Newell occasionally answers fan emails. Though he's not exactly soliciting such communication, his work email address leaked online many years ago. And while he has never bothered changing it, instead opting to engage with fans every once in a while.
Hell yeah,
I
man.
love this man, he's fantastic. In yet another apparent example of this trend, Newell recently allegedly responded to an email inquiring about what he's playing as of late. A bunch of Stalker 2, he wrote back on March 3rd, according to a screenshot of his response shared by Twitter user The CS Times. While the very existence of this response aligns with Newell's track record of engaging with fans, GameRant was unable to verify the authenticity of the email. It wouldn't shock me, to be honest. He's just that kind of person. Lately, I've been playing a bunch of Stalker 2. I should get the 4th ending tomorrow, and then I'll have to figure out what I'm going to play next. That doesn't shock me in the slightest for that man. It really doesn't.
Given what we've been discussing lately about CEOs of gaming companies, they could do with taking their page out of Gabe's book. This guy runs Steam and Valve, and he plays games. They need to do the same.
Yeah,
play your games, enjoy them. Hell, you don't even have to play your game. Go play other games. Just like play a game, goddammit.
Exactly like Gabe.
You cannot be in an industry and not enjoy something about it. If you're there just to make money, then enjoy having just a miserable life.
Yeah, pretty much. The widely circulated message also saw Newell seemingly reveal he was close to completely beating GSC Game World's post-apocalyptic shooter as of early March 2025. I should get the 4th ending tomorrow, the March 3rd email suggesting that the Valve co-founder has already seen the entirety of the game's story as of the writing. Unlocking all 4 Stalker 2 endings is no simple feat, as even the easiest way of doing so requires replaying the challenging final stretch of the game multiple times. The most common endings, She Will Never Be Free, was only seen by 8.1% of the Steam players.
We cannot go any further because I am actually still to complete Stalker.
Well, this is just actually talking about the achievements.
I know, but we don't know what lays below.
Let me, one moment.
Yes, double check.
We're fine.
Okay, good.
Well, just 1.
Let me wipe the sweat off my brow.
Yeah. Well, just 1.7% of Stalker 2 owners on Valve's storefront unlocked the Today Never Ends ending. Even fewer have seen all 4 endings. Newell did not clarify on which ending he was yet to unlock as of March 3rd. Stalker 2 endings can be obtained in any order, and they depend solely on player choices during the game's final stretch. Anyone looking
so you don't have to replay the entire game to get a different ending?
Well, I suppose you wouldn't have to, but let's be honest, that's boring. Replay, remake your build, do everything. Go mental.
You know what I'm like. I find a gun I like and I kind of stick to it. That one rifle I found really early that you were annoyed that you didn't check for. That
I am
came
so
with a scope.
annoyed by that.
Yeah, the one that came with a scope. I always had that. It was just a perfect all-round gun, man.
You remember when I found the rocket for the RPG? And all I said to you is, I sent you a message just simply reading, well, I guess there's an RPG then. And you're there like, you're spoiling things for me. I'm like, mate, even I've not found it yet. I just found the rocket.
I think I found it in my playthrough.
Yeah.
It's one of those things though, like you don't use it.
No, you don't. You keep that fucker for like just
to
showing
the
off.
end of the game, and it never sees the light of day.
No, exactly. Anyone looking to follow in Newell's footsteps without having to replay the game 4 times can do so by progressing to Stalker 2 Legends of Zone mission and making a manual save. There you go, Will. And they'll revisit
I like, though, that it's an option, because people like yourself, you're saying about going back, replaying it, doing a completely different build, etc., etc. You can still do that. You don't have to go back to your manual save. But for me, personally, it would get a bit boring to
Yeah.
replay the entire thing, because I like as well to spend a lot of time running around collecting a lot of loot.
Oh, don't
And I
you
cannot
just.
help myself. I physically cannot help myself. I
He's a
spend
fucking
hours.
loot gremlin.
Literally, I don't know how many times I sent you pictures of me fucking going back with full inventories of guns.
Yeah, he was
I got
just stumbling
2 feet
around.
further. Literally, crawling around the place at such a slow rate.
Well, the other thing that's going to be interesting, is while this is going on, and I think this will probably be the better thing, we're both going to have to, when we go back to it, restart and do a fresh save. Anyways.
Oh no!
Because-
When I go back to whenever I get my new build, I'll be doing a fresh save anyway, because I won't remember what the fuck I've done.
Well, there's that, and also the amount of fixes and stuff. The entire
Yeah.
beginning of that game could feel completely different, and that will be
It's gonna be
massively.
nice.
But
It's gonna
no,
be real nice.
amazing as always to GSC Game World. I disagree with these ratings massively.
Definitely, it's so much higher than that.
I'm
check
curious.
the reviews for it. We gotta see.
I am very curious. I've not had a look in a long time. Ooh, it's mixed as of recent. Still 82% positive overall. But what's got it mixed
Out of
as of recent?
82,000 reviews.
With the amount of fixes they've done, I'm very
Oh
surprised.
my goodness gracious!
Combat feels bad. I actually really enjoy the combat in that game.
I like it as well. The only thing that ever annoyed me was the grenade spam, but I mean,
Yeah, I'm very surprised by this. Oh, right, got you. Yep, fair enough. It's people
Was it? I
relating it
didn't
back
read it.
to the war.
yeah.
There's some genuine criticism there, which fair play. I understand that. I can respect that. But yeah, a lot of it is relating back to war.
There'll always be people that don't like certain bits about it, and that is what it is. But
Yeah. So, will the next Xbox console have Steam? It's been rising again. So, remember how I said it was basically, we'd heard it mentioned once, but then it went quiet?
Yeah.
It was Tom Warren, if I recall correctly. But also now Jez Corden has also said similar stuff, and people are now really wanting to know whether this is going to happen. I see it's possible, and I must admit, I saw a video on, I think it was TikTok the other night, which absolutely cracked me up. Someone basically was pretending to be Xbox, and they were shouting at Sony, "Fuck you, I finally found a way to get your games on my platform." Sony's there like, well, we haven't agreed to anything. Yeah, well, I'm just going to get Steam. Fuck you. Fair play, you win.
Steam is the best way to go about anything, man.
Yeah, and I'm fully for it, to be honest with you. To have the Steam OS running on a console, what's negative about that? More people get to play more games, console compatibility is pretty high on PC, and even worst case, just get a wireless keyboard and mouse. You can play any game through Steam on your console.
And I mean,
What's
it's not like there's
negative,
controller support for it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Unified ecosystem, exactly. I am fully for that completely.
Yeah, and even like players who play on PC, there's still quite a few of them that prefer to use a controller anyway. So
yeah,
pretty much most games have controller support.
But I just wanted to kind of open the dialogue there more than anything. But I'm very intrigued. If it does come to pass, I fully back it. We've always said we want more games to be out there and to be more accessible for people.
Yeah.
Whether or not it benefits the PC as a market, I'm not too fussed by. Money-wise, it doesn't bother me in the slightest. It's more, is it going to be beneficial to gamers? Yes. Cool. Go for it. Do it. Simple. So, Xbox posted something. And so it's surprising for me to actually have an Xbox article. But it's about Copilot, their AI that's built into Windows. If you've never used it, it's this little icon here. And basically, you click it, you pull it up, it pulls up after about like a minute or two. Let's not. And you can ask it to do something like generate a logo for Bobbington's gaming channel. Oh, I've got to sign in for it. Oh, I do it. Yeah, I can. Let me just see. Might be able to do this without having to log into anything. Nope. I'll show that off another time. But basically, it'll generate for you automatically. And it's a full AI that works in your system. It's not bad. It's a cool little system. But they're actually trying to utilize this in gaming. So I don't know how I feel about this.
Of course, it's straight to Minecraft.
Always, yeah. Okay, I've got some wood. What do I do with that? Craft the oak logs into wooden planks by opening your inventory and placing the logs in the crafting area. I don't like this. It feels weird. What's the best way to take out the beast? Want me to pull up a quick strategy guide? No. I want to fight it until I die. Now this side of stuff I don't mind. I want to get back into Age of Empires 4, can you install it? Downloading now, want to recap where you left off. That sort of stuff I don't mind too much. I can get behind that. The others feel sort of like just looking at a strategy guide the entire time.
I will say, my main issue for going back to a game or a save is I have no clue at all what the hell I did last.
So this sort of thing, recapping
So
where you were at
that-
the start, you can support.
might be good.
Yeah, it is a real
I'd have to
50-50.
experience it to see how well it does it.
Yeah, no, I'm completely...
Or if it just leaves me asking more questions.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I think Nvidia's system, which I showed off like a couple months back, I think that's a superior system where it'll automatically actually like overclock your system or set your basically based on your your computer's components, it will set out the best settings for a specific game for you. Things like that.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. I really do. But yeah, I just wanted to quickly go over that. And then we've got one last thing, which is pretty cool. So don't let your kids be on Roblox. Roblox CEO tells parents before comparing himself to Walt Disney and declaring the platform the future of communication.
Huh.
My favourite comment is what's in the subtext here. I would always trust parents to make their own decisions. You're a fucking idiot. The reason I say that, I think there's plenty of years of experience of this at this point, and written communication pretty much covering this over decades at this point. And I'm sure you'll remember this as soon as I say it will. How many parents have blamed gun crime, violence, and all sorts of other things on video games, but they're the idiots that purchased said game?
Almost like there's an age rating on games for a reason.
Well, that's a part of it, but the other part is games do not impact that. If anything, they desensitize you a little bit to violence. That's fair to say. That is completely fair to say. On the other hand, it does not remove your morals of knowing what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah, you're not getting brainwashed here. You're playing a video game where you can get away with doing stuff like that. That's the whole point of it.
Exactly. So apparently, his first has said that parents worried about their kids using Roblox have a fairly simple option open to them. My first message would be, if you're not comfortable, don't let your kids on Roblox. Fair play. Completely.
Yeah.
I'm completely with him on that. What I would say, I don't know if it's going to mention it, but you also do really need to fix your platform's handle, because there are a lot of bad people on there looking for kids. So I think
that's
the
everywhere.
platform...
The thing with Roblox is they know they can find them there really easily.
Yeah, same with Minecraft though, really. That had its that had its bloody fair share.
Yeah.
He went on to say, that sounds a little counterintuitive, but I would always trust parents to make their own decisions. I feel like I've just countered that pretty well. It's so nice he trusts us to think about our kids once in a while. Thanks, PC
Yeah,
Gamer.
they don't really seem to, considering even Twitch is full of children, and you can't even mention that you're under 13 or you'll be automatically banned.
Well, that's understandable. The
There was
platform's
actually a decent-sized streamer got himself banned on Twitch for trying to say it as a joke. Even though he knew that you can't even say it as a joke, still did it anyway.
What a clever guy. Suzuki's message is a bit of a get out, said Ellie Gibson of Scummy Mummies. I don't like that name. It's much easier said than done, especially when all their friends are playing it. Right, what was the thing that every parent ever said to us growing up? If your friend jumped off a bridge, would you?
Yes.
I'm sorry, like, most of us growing up, that is what we heard. And yet, nowadays it's, well, if their friends are doing it, why should we stop them? Right, they give you security options. They give you ways to parental controls. They have these set up and prepared. If you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to set these things up because you're afraid that, oh, well, they're going to be left out of playing this very specific game with their friends because they won't be able to do exactly the same thing, speak to the other parent.
Oh, won't somebody please think of
That's between you and them. It's really not to do with the games company. As much as I don't like Roblox, I am kind of on their side with this one. Kind of. Roblox is one of the most popular platforms in the world, with 79.5 million daily active users and a long-term goal, I kid you not,
Really active.
of making that 1 billion daily active users. Well, you need to hit 100 million first. Roblox Corporation is now worth $41 billion, or 31
Oh my
billion
God.
pounds. It bleeds into the real
Jeez.
world in all sorts of ways, such as when the BBC used it last year to explain the UK's general election to children. Why in hell's name do children need to understand the general election?
If you're wanting to teach them about this, you teach them it when they're in fucking high school.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, they don't teach us anything useful in school that
No.
actually relates to the real world.
Secondary school's just a load of shit.
School in general is worthless.
Yeah.
At least,
It's not just
primary
that.
school, you get your basics,
Yeah, it's
and
not
then they just go completely off course.
It's not just that though. Even in like the moment when you get to secondary school, yeah, they teach you like a load of things that are pretty useless to you. But at the same time, the testing system is a load of crap. It doesn't test you. It tests you on the can you memorize?
Yeah.
Not can you work this out? Can you do this? No, it's just can you memorize the answers to this exam?
We told you this last week. Can you tell us it now?
No, I can't. I've got a shit memory. But you asked me to fix a computer. This is something that a lot of people will be shocked by. As you know, I do pretty well in IT. I work in IT even. I'm pretty good at it. In university, I got a pretty damn good score overall for my degree and certification. But in school, I passed IT by 1 mark because of the exam. My actual coursework was at the level of a B, but due to my exam answers, it dropped that much. And you know me, man. Computers are like my lifeblood. So
Well, it's almost like everything I learned about computers is from you.
exactly. So yeah, it angers me, man. Angers me. I'll always bring
and
that up as an example.
that's the problem with it. It's like things aren't practical anymore.
Exactly.
It's all, as I said. We told you this last week. Can you tell us what it is?
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
that's it. It's like it's so stupid and pointless. Like, it does nothing for you, and it did nothing for me.
No, same. I walked out of school with 3 GCSEs. I did further GCSEs in 2 years of first set of college, and I did another 2 years at another college for my actual IT degree. So, like, I've spent plenty of time in education, and I will be brutally honest, colleges and universities are much better because it's all freedom, and they're willing to teach you in different ways, and you do a lot of teaching yourself. It's a lot better for my sort of environment, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
Like, you know, and I've told you this, that I'm a practical learner. Like,
Same.
I learn by doing it. So when you take in the PCs, for example, now that I've done it, even when I first started doing it, I would say I've done it a lot better than the friend that I've been talking to you about. This guy is currently working on being an accountant, and
Yeah,
is,
tell him to stick with
you know,
numbers.
he's getting job offers. You know, he's out searching for stuff to looking to get himself something good. You saw the state of the PC he just built.
If I ever see another picture of that
On
PC, I
paper?
hope it's when it's on fire.
On paper, he would be 50 times smarter than me because of how it would be measured.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't be able to remember shit. If we were to physically do something as an exercise, such as the PC, I would say for the most part, especially now, I would know like 95% of it minimum.
Yeah, I'm with you. So we should probably avoid that tangent further, shouldn't we?
It will send Rory into a frenzy. I've
puts
already ruined
both-
2 nights of sleep.
It puts both of us in frenzies. Time for
Man, it
granted
cracks
on that
me
topic.
up. It cracks me up, man.
I'm on about
just
the
sitting laughing.
educational side. But
Oh,
yeah,
that can go to hell.
yeah, exactly. But that friend of yours, yeah, will not talk about him any further. Nevertheless, the platform remains dogged by accusations it doesn't do enough to protect young users. In particular, the horrifying case of, I can't say that word. Yeah, a bad person who did something and took a certain year-old girl. I can't talk about this topic really.
Yeah.
Basically,
Basically, a
it's
really bad
about
person did a really bad
people.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
did really bad things to people they really, really shouldn't do, and to be brutally honest, deserve putting down. Anyways,
Yeah.
then there are
That's
accusations of exploits.
always something on the internet is the issue. Like, you gotta have sense on what you're doing and who you're talking to.
Yeah, but the other
Don't just
part, once again, parents have parental control. Use it.
yeah.
It
Not
might
even
seem...
not even use it. At least like monitor what your kid does. And
Yeah.
if there's some sketchy stuff happening, then start using the parental controls.
At the end of the day,
Because I'm all if I had a kid, I'm all for them having freedom on the internet.
Yeah.
To an extent, like there's a few things I would avoid.
oh,
But like
trust me, it will be the most locked down system you will ever see.
but my personal experience is I've basically just been let loose and I
Same.
gained my own sense. Now not everyone would be the same, which is why you need to monitor it. And if there's some questionable stuff happening or you're a little concerned about certain things on it, that's when you start limiting stuff. And I'm not saying put them in a PC, show them what the internet is, and then just walk away.
Yeah, definitely don't do that.
You know, that first time and first few times that they're sitting with a PC or whatever that has access to the internet, you sit with them. You make sure they're not straight away looking for some dodgy shit because that's just asking for bad things to happen.
Yeah, there's definitely some like rules and regulations you put in place for it, like, but it's the hands-off approach I find a lot of parents take straight off the way. Because let's be honest, this current generation of children that are coming up, they are pretty much just being given a tablet at the age of like 1, and that's it. And
that's the age we live in at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, it's the digital age. That's the way everything's going. And sure, if they're getting brought up with it, that we can't do anything about that. That's the parents' choice. But if you're gonna let them have that in their life for their whole life, you need to make sure they know what they're doing with it.
Yeah, need to know the rights, the wrongs, and all the rest.
Me and Rory have pretty much lived. And
we have seen some horrific things.
We could fill a few books.
Yeah, we could. Pretty much psychological.
We learn. Yeah, we learn through our own ways because that's how we learn, and we know things to avoid and things you shouldn't do. Not by doing them, just common sense, and that doesn't exist anymore.
Pretty much. Then there are accusations.
You got to teach.
Go on, sorry.
You got to teach them. Just make sure they know what to really avoid.
You do. You completely do. Then there are accusations it exploits young users and has effectively built an empire on the back of child labour, which Roblox denies. Turkey has just straight up banned Roblox for child exploitation. How are they?
I mean, is Fortnite not doing that as well?
Yeah, I really need some explanation on how they're doing this. For its part, Roblox always emphasizes the number of people who have amazing experiences on the platform and highlights its many tools and parental control it offers. There you go. Use it.
I mean, is Roblox not free to play from the get-go?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing you purchase are cosmetics.
Yeah, the standard.
Yeah.
So again, set up the parental controls, or just don't give your child your credit card. There's an idea. Oh, if they just don't have access to your money, which as a child they should not have access to adult money.
Exactly.
Then they're fine. They're not going to get exploited because, well, they don't have money.
Well, they might get exploited by bad people doing bad things.
We're not talking about that.
Parental control set up correctly. It should prevent.
Some monitoring concerning your child is using the internet as well is always good.
Exactly that. So we do in the company take the attitude that any bad, even one bad incident, is one too many. We watch for bullying, we watch for harassment, we filter all those kinds of things. And I would say behind the scenes, the analysis goes on all the way to, if necessary, reaching out to law enforcement. Last year, the company did announce new rules for under 13s following a scathing child safety report, and has AI systems that monitor communications. We don't condone any type of image sharing on our platform, and you'll see us getting more and more. I think that one doesn't make much sense. Okay. I think way beyond where the law is on this type of behaviour. For my part, I raise my kids on a diet of Nintendo, Dad authorized PC games, and Minecraft without the online features. I would say
Nintendo has to be one of the best platforms for kids, without a doubt.
100%.
Like
100%.
they have so much child friendly stuff. Like, not to say that the other things don't have any, but Nintendo are like top tier for that. It's all bright colors and wholesome gameplay for the most part.
Nah, mate, we'll do it our way. We'll just drop them into a Minecraft faction server and just fucking
Oh
walk
no!
off.
You'll come back the next night and the child will have a beard, man. Don't do that.
I grew 12 years, father. I would say
Oh, you're winning, son. You're my son now.
I would say I'm fairly liberal generally about their exposure to various media, but there are lines. One of them is for sure is Roblox. I don't want my kids on it. Things get slightly off something later in the interview as he compares the experience of building Roblox to how Walt Disney must have felt when building Disney into what it is. The job is a little like having the opportunity he had a long time ago when he was designing the Magic Kingdom. If that isn't grandiose enough for you, he also, when asked to describe Roblox in 3 words, and goes for 4, the future of communication.
So did they have like a break in this interview for 5 minutes and bro went off and got high, or like what was that those last comments, man?
I have no idea. I don't question things anymore. You know this. It's dangerous.
Yeah, I think going back to what you said about how Minecraft used to be, have these issues. I like, you don't really hear about that anymore. It doesn't really happen anymore, although still possible because it's the internet. It's always possible.
Anything's
But
possible on the internet.
Roblox can definitely be on that sketchy end. There's a lot of
100%.
kid friendly stuff on it, but with it becoming ever ending more popular and
Yeah.
more stuff being released on it, it is getting like slowly towards the questionable state. And you
Thank
really
you.
do need to now like put the parental stuff on if you have a kid.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be that way, to be honest. Moving into the future, that's just the way things are. And if you can't... The thing is, there's a lot of technophobes out there our age, which somehow that baffles me more than anything else, to be brutally honest. There's someone I went to school with who genuinely doesn't know how to turn on a computer. That's not even a joke.
That I will never believe.
I'm-
You can learn how to flip a switch and press a button. It's not that you can't, it's that you won't.
Yeah, pretty much. Doesn't know how to do it. Refuses to do it. He took a job at the same company I work for, and literally, this is what I found out a couple days later. Turned around and went, "Oh, they didn't tell me I'd have to use a computer. I don't know how." You took the same IT lessons I did. They were
He's also
mandatory.
applying at an IT company.
It's not an IT company.
Well, it fucking sounds like the way you fucking describe things to me.
No, I just get very angry sometimes.
Sometimes, huh? I feel like our roles have swapped, Rory. I don't.
You
I
used
still
to be the
have
aggressive
like,
one.
yeah. I mean, I still can be, but I still have moments though where I get, quite pissed off. But they're they're very few and far between now. But I feel like now, like 9 out of 10 times when I talk to you, you're just something's pissed you off.
Hey, look, I work in the corporate world. That's how shit goes. You're always pissed off. But yeah, I find shit like that absolutely preposterous, and it's a lot of these people that don't know how to utilize parental controls because they can't figure out how to use the fucking thing themselves. But then they're letting the kids go and do it.
Makes no sense considering like 99% of things when you leave your house, it has a computer involved in some sort of way that you are technically using.
Exactly.
Even if it's just the touchscreen at McDonald's that you're ordering your food on, you're technically using a computer.
Yeah, no, exactly that. And that's why, as well, I think a lot of things, gaming involved in this and computers involved in this, they're simplifying a lot more stuff to make it simpler and easier for newer people to understand. They're trying to bring in even younger audiences. They're trying to bring in people who hate computers. But at the same time, they're kind of starting to alienate their older users that know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm
The
not
thing
trying
is,
to
though,
call it
and
old.
it was something that you always kept telling me to do, which I do, but I still ask you for confirmation. Everyone knows how to use Google.
Yeah.
And when it comes to doing anything with a PC, as you already knew, and you forced me to find out, Google will pretty much tell you how to do anything with a PC.
Step 1 of learning computers. Google anything you don't understand. If you need help, ask a technical friend. They will answer. Just don't come to us with
even if they
everything.
don't want to.
Yeah, it's pretty much the curse we decided to agree
They're
to.
they're legally obligated. They're
feels
bound
that
by
way.
their soul.
No, it does feel that way. But yeah, Google's your friend. It always will be.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
no, I think that's everything for today. Is there anything you'd like to bring up before we end the episode?
If you are Googling stuff, the thing I have found that is best for like you get results for on Google is when you're putting a new PC together and you're Googling the abbreviations on the motherboard to figure out what goes where. That is so nice. What the hell's JFP1? I'll just Google it. It tells me exactly what it is. Oh, that's what wire goes in there. Got it.
People wonder how I learned what I know.
It's wonderful. It's so convenient and so nice. People love convenience. Google is convenient.
No, you see, Google's not convenient because whenever they go, this is something I'll still never get my head around. People accidentally, I have to like fucking air quote the shit out of that, because they'll accidentally change their default search and then they'll be on Bing. Which is hilarious to me. Because they'll be like on Bing or something else, some random extension that they've installed because they just click accept to everything in the internet. But then the moment they go onto a browser, it'll say, will you accept our cookies? No, don't want to do that. You're stealing my data. What have you installed again? 7 viruses, 18 pieces of malware. Oh, and some ransomware just for good reference. Thanks. Yeah, it annoys me. But yeah, then they'll go on there, see it says Bing and goes, oh, that's not trustable. But then if they've got Google installed and they can clearly say it sees Google, they will then proceed for some absolute annoyance. They will basically decide it's a good idea to Google. Once upon a time, that was a meme. Not very much nowadays. How to stop a baby crying. Google. Cuddle it, feed it, care for it. Bing. The river. Drown it. Yeah, exactly that.
It's one of my favorite memes.
That is Bing to Google. That's just how it is. But no, I think that's everything covered. You agreed? That seems like everything?
Yeah, I mean it's been a little bit longer.
It has.
But there's been some entertaining stuff this week. It's been really interesting. And how close are we now, Rory, to Assassin's Creed? Is it the 20th?
I believe it's. Oh, you know what?
I don't know why I have the 20th in my head, but I feel like that's very wrong.
Shadows releases on the 20th of
It
March.
is the 20th.
In 3 days. So, in 3 days' time. Well, I'm sorry. Next week, we will have reviews.
Next week, I get that sweet reviews. And I get to see the statistics and the information. Oh, I'm excited.
He's been waiting for this for so long.
I need to know what's going to happen with Ubisoft, man. And I genuinely feel that this is going to be like a big deciding factor.
No, I'm completely with you on that. I can
So
definitely see
I'm
that
like, I want to know what happens. So I'm looking forward to next week without a doubt.
Sounds like a plan. Well then, in that case then, thank you all for watching as always. If you have enjoyed, feel free to like, follow, subscribe, comment, and join the Discord. I remembered this week.
He stole my bit!
And we will catch you all in the next episode. I think that's everything, so yeah.
Yeah. Alright guys, have a good one and we'll see you next week.
Bye for now, guys.